Hey everybody, welcome to Package Some Sound.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
We're going to do Spider-Man, The Death of Gwen Stacy.
Whoa.
We've talked about this
The
story
like original
a lot.
in
The story.
Like, whenever, 70s or whatever.
Yeah,
this
73.
happened. Okay.
From Stan Lee, Jerry Conway, Gil Kane, and John Romita Sr. Heretofore
Wow.
known as John Romita.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the story. This might be the worst collection of said story, but it's still the story. It's got the comic in here,
Yeah.
so that's all we need to focus on. Ralph Macchio, not the Karate Kid, but in fact, an editor at the time of Spider-Man books.
No, I'm
writes
pretty sure
this-
he was the Karate Kid.
Yeah, yeah. And then when he was done with Miyagi, he went to the Spider-Man offices and became an editor.
Yeah.
In any event, he wrote the foreword for this particular volume. It has at least 2 spelling errors per paragraph, and there's only 4 paragraphs. It's like I'm like, you're the editor,
Yeah, I'm not the
I
editor.
don't
I'm
do
not a
copy.
good speller.
right? So it's like no. Then the afterwards a little better. That's written by an artist. I'm like, what's happening? This whole world's topsy-turvy. It doesn't give you any like real context, but I will try because
Okay.
like there's a lot of fun history around the story, as you know.
Yeah.
Because it's the first time in recent memory that they were like, hey, let's kill a character for plot's sake. Let's just take this girl.
Yeah.
She's not doing anything, and just this offer.
Well, he's going to be with Mary Jane, right? So we don't need her anymore.
Well, and that's and there's some history with that because of course, like when Gwen came on the scene, she had more personality.
Right.
She was sarcastic and actually kind of mean to Peter because she was rolling with people like Harry Osborn and Flash Thompson. She's like, pff,
Ah, jerks.
well, yeah, she was a jerk. She was beautiful and popular. So like,
Right.
of course she was a jerk.
High school sales here.
Peter could have had this amazing cathartic experience when he graduated from Midtown High, went to ESU, and he's like, listen, puny Parker, sweater vests, glasses, nah, that was the old me. Everybody who knew me back then, Liz Allen, Flash Thompson, they know me as Puny Parker, but I'm going to Empire State University now. I'm going to be the BMOC. No, the BMOC means big man on campus. That was the old term. This is a term that they didn't use when I was on campus as a college student.
Yeah.
I learned it from reading Spider-Man comics.
Oh.
Yeah. In
So
fact,
it had already retired by the time you were actually.
I've only heard it referred to people who were like, "Oh, you're the big man on campus now, huh?
Oh, you're the
Then someone
B-Mock.
getting too big for your britches."
no, well, yeah. I mean, like those who are not the big man on campus would certainly see it that way. But in fact, like Flash Thompson was the big man on campus.
He
The
was the
problem
B-Mock.
was, of course, that he was B-Mock. The problem was that when Peter went to ESU, so too did Flash Thompson.
Right.
And he's like, oh, great, the guy who was responsible for my alienation and subjugation socially is going to come with me to college.
It's okay. He's probably on a sports scholarship. He's going to be out of there in a while.
He was an athletic scholarship, and then he enlisted and fought in the Vietnam War, which of course was aged up because, like, time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Spider-Man's example made him go like, screw it, I'm gonna actually like be a hero. And the only way I know how to do that is to enlist in the military.
Okay.
And so he did. But before that, he was a douche, and he encouraged other people to be a douche to Peter. He's like, hey guys, that guy over there, the guy who looks like completely put together and has no like physical impairments or reason to call him a nerd. In high school, he's a total nerd.
Don't let him. Don't forget.
Don't let him fool you.
Yeah,
And
he's a
they're
nerd.
Like, and they're like, okay, lol. And he's like, cool.
Got it. That guy's a nerd.
Right.
Get him.
Got it. And then Peter's like, cool. Well,
Why?
My aunt's gonna keel over at any second, so I'm constantly worried about that. I'm Spider-Man. I could kill all of you.
I'm amazed he's not bald from stress.
Right? Yeah, it's true. This is the spider.
Yeah, the spider.
It's all cilia.
Spiders never lose their hair. That's one of their powers.
Yeah, but this is all getting back to the fact that Gwen Stacy was a jerk to Peter. She had a personality. She might have been a jerk, but she had a personality. She was like sarcastic, and ultimately she saw something in Peter, and then they introduced Mary Jane, who was a firecracker and a lot of fun, and clearly Stan liked writing her more than Gwen, though you should understand that the design for Gwen Stacy was Stan's true love, Joan.
Ah.
Said draw Joan, and so they did. So like the visual inspiration for Gwen Stacy is Stanley's wife, which should inform, I think, the story about her death, which we'll get into. The Gwen's death, not Joan's. Joan just passed away in old age, and
Very different.
very different. Yeah, she lived a long life.
Yeah.
but
But once Stan said, Joan, I'm sorry, you don't end up with Spider-Man. I'm killing you instead.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I assume it caused problems at home.
He didn't have that conversation, and it did cause problems in the editorial department. But we'll talk about that later. All right, we'll talk about it right now. So they killed.
We're talking about it now.
They killed Gwen Stacy, right? And then it was the most seminal moment in Spider-Man's history up until that point, and it was a celebrated story that was remembered for all time. Not actually. Everyone freaked the hell out because people, even back then, were identifying themselves as Peter Parker, and they were like, "Oh, you killed my girlfriend," and like by that I actually mean like, you know, I've been invested in the story. She's his lady love. Of course, as their relationship blossomed, Gwen became more boilerplate, boring. You know, she's kind of like she was always, oh, I love Peter, and then they're like, oh, we'll make him interesting by killing her father, and she'll blame Spider-Man, and that'll create some juicy stories.
Right.
And it did, but also now we got a conundrum because like she loves Peter but hates Spider-Man, and Peter has to, even as the cover story, take pictures of Spider-Man and be around him all the time.
Right.
She can't even stand to hear his name.
She's like, why are you taking pictures of that psycho?
Yeah, and it's
That
like
murderer.
And actually, for the writers, they were like, this is actually more of a problem than it is fun.
Yeah. It's like stressful for us to have to like write this stuff.
She also becomes one note at that point.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
she
and kind
loves
of
Peter, and
annoying.
she's just constantly nagging
She's a
him.
nag, yeah.
Yeah, but also,
Good
isn't
job,
that also
writers.
Aunt May? Aunt May hates Spider-Man
Yep.
and loves Peter. and
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
already did that.
So now he's like, he's
yeah,
got
but Aunt May's not young and hot.
right.
I don't want to draw her that much.
No, which is
I'd rather
fair. So
But she's in the books quite frequently.
Yeah.
yeah,
so she
well,
is,
she's
yeah.
no. Oh, she was essential when these writers and artists are interviewed and talking about the good old days. They all refer to the fact that like Aunt May was essential, and they were like, we need to make sure that there's at least one part of the story where Peter's like wondering about Aunt May, like constantly. There's a sequence in
When
this,
she's not on the page.
They
the
must be
characters
wondering.
Be wondering where she.
and asking out loud, what's up with Aunt May? There's this moment in this story where Peter's like, maybe if my secret identity is out, then Aunt May won't bother me so much. Like, literally,
Yeah.
he's just constantly wondering, like, how can I get this geriatric caregiver off my goddamn back? I'm like 20-something. I don't need this old lady. And
Why
it's
doesn't
like,
he just tell her?
Right.
You don't have to tell the whole world.
No,
just tell her.
Because it's an
No.
essential part of Spider-Man. Like this is one of the things that makes Spider-Man Spider-Man is that he has this doddering aunt who's constantly worried about him, even beyond his age, and she hates Spider-Man, and he's constantly like bemused by that. And it's like, wait. But if you're annoyed by that story and you're constantly laying your own personal issues with this concept onto the titular character, maybe it's time to come up with a refresh. I don't know. How did they kill Gwen Stacy? How did that conversation come up? Well, you got Jerry Conway, who's the scriptwriter. You got Stan Lee, who's sharing duties with Jerry, who's also the editor-in-chief of Marvel. So he's like, I'm in charge of the company of Marvel Comics. And also, because I created Spider-Man, I'm also writing Spider-Man with Jerry Conway. And so you got that going on. Meanwhile, Stan is also like, I'm gonna like be Stan Lee, you know, Excelsior. I'm going off to Europe, and I'm making, you know, deals. Stan Lee is at the core of a lot of like horrible business deals that took place in like the 60s and 70s and 80s of Marvel, where it's like Stan Lee himself had to like meet with Michael Jackson about the Spider-Man movie. Because Michael Jackson's like, I want to buy Marvel Comics so that we can make a Spider-Man movie and I can play Spider-Man. And Stan Lee was like, can I play J. Jonah Jameson?
What? That's madness.
I know. And it only gets more weird. So Stan, at this point, when they were writing the story, they were dealing with Norman Osborn, Green Goblin, who is, at this point, the only villain who knows who Spider-Man is. He's probably one of the only people on the planet who knows who Spider-Man is. And because these guys, like, they aged up Peter in only 100 issues. You know, like, he went from nebbish bookworm in high school to, you know, big man on campus at Empire State University. BMOC. And so, at this rate, you know, it's going to be the 80s and Peter's going to be like 50 years old.
Right. We got to slow down.
Well, they didn't even think about that. It's more just like, at this breakneck speed, they were like, well, I mean, we've done all the stories. Like, it's amazing to think about these people who are writing this character who's going to be the cash cow, thinking like, well, you know,
That's it.
How many more
I have no more.
stories? How many more stories are we gonna get out of this? Green Goblin knows who Spider-Man is. Like, it feels kind of tried at this point.
Yeah.
It feels kind of tired. And
How
you're like,
how many stories can you really tell about a guy who gets bitten by a spider and has spider powers, right?
Right.
Maybe 200 issues
And-
max.
well,
and
the
by the
reality
end, it'll
is-
be pretty bad.
they'll be done, I'll be done. No one's gonna want to read this crap anyway.
Yeah.
So let's just get all the stories we can out of the way.
Well, I mean, they're going to grow up, right? The kids are reading this.
Right.
Yeah,
In
then
another
they'll
5
stop.
years, they're not going to care.
They're not going to give a crap.
Exactly. Yeah, that's their approach. But like in any case, because Jerry Conway is like a professional and knows how to write, like these stories feel contemporary and interesting. And so Green Goblin knows who Spider-Man is, but he also has constant bouts of amnesia to allow for Green Goblin not to reveal to the world that he's Spider-Man.
See, that's the only soap opera-ish bullshit
it-
that happens.
Why
It's
did
not
you
the
let
only,
Green
but
Goblin
it's-
find out he was Spider-Man if you were just gonna like have to work around it for all time?
Because it was such a great idea. It was like, oh, like that.
In the moment, it'll be really cool.
Yes. But then it was like,
And
oh
that's
no.
as far ahead as I could look.
Well, and for them it was like amnesia, whatever.
Yeah, it's a
Whatever.
comic book, who
It's a comic
cares?
book. Who's complaining?
Yeah,
You
fair
know,
enough.
It's not like 50-year-old men are going to be like retconning these old stories 40 years from now to make it like contemporary for adults.
That would be stupid.
And when he basically gets amnesia, he like forgets he was the Green Goblin, and with it forgets his memories. But when he's Green Goblin, he kind of forgets that he's Norman Osborn. So it's kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Okay, yeah.
That's how they
He, like,
used to play it.
transforms,
Yeah.
yeah.
He doesn't do a Willem Dafoe thing where he like morphs into him or anything, but he does.
And like
go,
hear his voice in the background.
Looks in
No.
the mirror and he sees the goblin.
Nope.
And he hears it. and-
No. It's actually a little less hackney somehow. But you know, so Green Goblin knows who he is, and that's the real tension. Except when he gets amnesia, and then it's like, okay, well that tension is thwarted. Thank
There goes
God.
that tension.
Moving on. Sometimes got to fight the Rhino or something. We can't always have a big Green Goblin.
Right.
But Green Goblin knows that he's Spider-Man, and they know they're going to be doing this like big build up to the death of Gwen Stacy, and so you know, Jerry Conway is working with John Romita Sr. on this story because Stan is leaving for Europe in real life, and there are several versions of the story of how Gwen Stacy was killed by editorial. All of them involve Stan's non-involvement.
Wow.
The question is, was Stan in Europe or was he about to leave for Europe? There are a number of reports. One of them is, here's one story. Stan Lee was in his office packing up. This is Stan's story. He's like, I was packing up, trying to leave for Europe, and the guys came into my office, and they said they had this idea, and they wanted to kill off Gwen, and I must not have been paying attention or thinking, and so I kind of just said, like, whatever, and they took that to mean yes, and I left for Europe, and when I got back, Gwen was dead, and everyone was upset. That, you know that's horseshit.
You understand, the comic book trade, like, is very slow out there.
Yeah.
They're years behind.
They were slow to get to Europe.
They still are, right? We
Yeah.
get comments from people like, I don't have that.
Right, we
issue
don't have
with
that yet. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's digital.
It's on the internet.
Yeah, now it's like instant. But
Well, they're also like, yeah, but our country kind of restricts us from having it.
Are you a viewer from a country where the censorship is so high you can't get contemporary comics? Let us know. The other story is that Stan was in Europe and they called him and the connection was bad and he basically said sure. In any case, the story has always been that Jerry Conway and John Romita Sr. killed Gwen Stacy while Stan Lee was out of town. The reason why I believe that they did kill her off kind of without his permission is thus. Stan Lee, when he was in Mallrats, okay, going back to like 1994, when he was in Mallrats, there's a sequence where Stan is talking to Brody, played by Jason Lee, in which Stan reveals that like all the characters that he's created at Marvel are some extension of his pathos for letting the girl that got away get away. So he goes to Kevin, he's like, it's a beautiful scene, I really like it, but can we add another sequence where I reveal that it's a joke? Because I am with my dream girl, her name is Joan, and I love her, and if she sees this movie that I'm in, and back then Stan wasn't in a lot of movies, but he always wanted to be in them, and so he's like, if you can add a scene where I'm making a joke about that so that it wasn't really true, then when she sees it, she won't think that like I don't want to
I'm not actually in love with her. Yes.
I don't want to hurt her feelings.
Right,
And you're like,
right.
that's really sweet that he, and it's pure Stan Lee, and here's why. On one level, it is this adorable story about this man who just doesn't want to hurt his wife's feelings. And on the other, it's a man who negotiated an extra scene in the movie that he's not really supposed to be in. So the fact is, Stan loved his wife, and he cared so much about her that there's no way he would have allowed them to kill Gwen without him having his full attention on that story. Because Gwen's design is from his wife. So I believe that there was some level of obfuscation going on. Maybe they did go to him directly and say, hey, let's kill Gwen. And he was like, we'll talk about it when I get back. And they were
Right.
like, the book has to come out. We're making an executive decision.
Right.
In any
Or maybe
case,
maybe he said like, I don't know, maybe, and then maybe both stories happened.
Yeah.
Before he was approached and he gave a non-committal answer,
Then they
and then they
called
called
him.
him and said like, okay, it's go time. What do you think?
and he's like, fine.
Yeah.
I
Or
do
he
know-
misunderstood,
Yeah, or he.
and it was a bad connection.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
I do know that the plan was, they were like, let's kill Aunt May first. They were like, we're gonna kill somebody, and they were
We
let's
gotta kill somebody.
gotta kill somebody who's
Starting,
living.
okay, step one. Someone has to
Someone
die.
has to
Now
die.
let's figure out who.
Because they were like, let's kill Aunt May
Good
because
decisions
Darth
get
Vader
made.
dartboard.
they literally, well, let's kill Aunt May. She's outlived her usefulness.
Yeah. She's got to die at some point.
gotta
You've
die
been
at some
teasing her
point.
death
Well,
for
Like,
the whole
he's
comic.
in college
true.
now, right?
Yeah,
He
it's been
doesn't
like 10
need her
years
anymore.
or whatever. Yeah. So she needs to go away.
I'm
Right.
an adult.
So they killed Captain Stacy, Gwen's dad, as a
Yeah.
kind of like stopgap, where they're like, look, that's some cool stuff, but then they
to satisfy America's bloodlust. Yeah.
Well, naturally, no. It was just because they were like, well,
Gotta kill someone.
This will raise the stakes and it'll cause like some drama
Drama,
into
yeah.
the story. But they found out, as is the case with killing characters for no reason,
It's unsatisfying.
it only lasts so long. The
Yeah.
effect is like, okay, now who we got to kill now? Like,
Now who do we kill?
well, because now we got to up the ante, and
Yeah.
then somebody suggested we kill Gwen, and they're like, that'll be even more tragic. Like, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Plus, most people prefer to write about Mary Jane.
So it's like win-win.
Yes. They were like, Mary Jane's more interesting and fun. Gwen has gotten milquetoast. Let's get rid of her anyway.
And her stock is declining every day.
Yes.
Right? As Mary Jane like becomes more prominent, and you see how crappy.
You're watching the rise and fall. Of these
Yeah.
two
So it's
characters.
like if you don't kill her now, it's like you're never gonna get as good a chance.
That's true.
To get the impact.
Yeah, and so they did. It did meet with fanfare. People were outraged and crazy. They got letters. They got phone calls. And Stan went to give a lecture at some college, and he was inundated by protesters who were just like
Protesters?
Yeah, people were screaming at him about.
They have
killing-
signs and stuff like.
I don't know.
Bring her back.
I feel like they kind of just like articulated those impressions.
Uh-huh.
But that being said, Stan felt so attacked by this that he went back to them and he was like, okay, you gotta fix it somehow. And back then, which is ironic of course, the mantra at Marvel was dead means dead. If they're dead,
Dead's better.
they stay there. Sometimes dead's better. But no, all the time dead's better. The reality is if you kill a character, at Marvel it's like the real world, they die. And so they were like, but Stan, we just killed her. People are already going to be mad. We're already done.
It's already, yeah.
But if we break this big thing with Marvel, if dead doesn't mean dead, he goes, I don't care.
Yeah,
That's
what are you
bullshit.
talking about? That's stupid. It's all fake.
It's all made
Just
up
bring
anyway.
her back.
I don't care what you do, just bring her back. And so they wrote the Clone Saga.
Oh God, they brought her back in the worst possible way.
I mean, it beats. No, there was another way, and it was called Making Her a Zombie, and it was gonna be like a horror comic about like Gwen Stacy.
I would
rising
argue
from
the
grave.
Clone Saga was a horror comic.
Well,
it certainly was a horrifying concept.
Oh,
It's a bad
absolutely.
it's a bad like mashup.
Yes. Well, the Clone Saga in itself, it's like, let's ruin science, let's make it impossible and silly, and also let's give really, really bad writers about 20 years or 30 years from now, like, a really bad platform to start from.
It was also like gross.
Yes.
It was like psychologically horrible.
Yes. The concept of like your dead girlfriend coming back to life and her kind of being like, why does everybody think I'm dead? Like the horror of her family being shocked and also her being shocked. Like it's gross.
And also realizing that like, oh, I'm not real.
Right, at the end of it, yeah. I mean, but then there's, of course, the really cool story stuff. Like, these guys knew what they were doing. So when Aunt May sees Gwen, like, just walking by, she has a freaking episode. Like, she's like, I must be seeing things. I must be going crazy. And you're
right,
like, that's
right.
cool.
Yeah.
You're smart. So the death of Gwen Stacy has a huge impact, a lot of fun history, and it's connected to a lot of other things, like a lot of firsts in comics. I know that like there's an element in this that did not get approval from the Comics Code Authority because of its portrayal of drug use, regardless of Stan's attempt at actually trying to be contemporary about the subject. He wasn't trying to say like, listen, some drugs are cool. No, he was like, listen, drugs are bad. We need to talk about them because like some of our readers are of the age.
Yeah, where they will encounter
So
them.
let's get into it. And it was like,
And if we
okay.
don't ever show anything, they're
It's
just gonna
irresponsible.
find that information elsewhere.
Well, it's irresponsible of us because we have this platform. Let's use
Yeah.
it for good.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. So the story of the death of Gwen Stacy, because that's like all the history of the Gwen Stacy saga, and there's more to it, I'm sure. I know that what was it? Jerry Conway wants to believe that John Romita Sr. is the guy who said, "Let's kill Gwen," and Conway's like, "I love that idea." And then they asked Stan, and he said it's cool, and then subsequently said that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But
You got buyer's remorse.
yes, and
It's their version.
I love it because there's at least 4 different accounts of how it
Yep.
happened, but the end
That's
result is the
perfect.
same.
It's like the Joker.
Yeah. You get,
The death of Gwen Stacy is the Joker of Marvel Comics.
This is the turning point, not only for Spider-Man, but also kind of for comics. It was the beginning of fridging girlfriends.
Yeah.
Pre-fridges.
Yep.
Used to be bridging them, I guess. Gotta go with something that rhymes.
That is bizarre, but
Fridged.
okay.
Fridged.
What else do we have? Nothing rhymes with those anymore.
Oh, we could throw her off a ridge.
That's too much like a bridge.
Yeah, we just got to go over something. So, Pete and Gwen are on the outs because Gwen won't give up the whole, like, I hate Spider-Man thing, and Peter's like, ugh. So then she runs away to London to kind of, like, cool off and be with her relatives.
Okay.
This is, of course, retconned by J. Michael Straczynski in a story called One More Day, in a story called Sins Past, where it turns out that she actually had sex with Green Goblin, and she had 2 twins that were accelerated aged. So in the 7 years of the 30-year history, they grew up to be adults, but that story didn't happen, and it's bullshit. And for some reason, they haven't actually officially retconned it out of continuity yet. So let's just enjoy
I mean, it
the
literally
fact that,
did happen, but like, we're just going to say it didn't.
Let's just say it didn't.
Well, it's
for the
interesting
sake of
because
this.
we have a whole episode saying it happened.
That's right. Yeah,
I watched it happen. I saw it happen. Don't tell me it didn't
I
happen.
were
bought
on the
those
couch.
issues. So, but yeah. In any case, let's pretend like Sins Past didn't happen.
Okay.
Like so many people. But in any case, Gwen runs off to London, and so she's there. Peter takes a photo assignment to, I guess, get pictures of the Hulk or something, because Hulk's in London for whatever reason. And so,
Everyone's going in
He's
London.
just chasing his girlfriend.
yeah, well, he's using that opportunity to go see her. But once Spider-Man's sighted in London, then he can't see her, because if she sees that Spider-Man and Peter Parker are there at the same time, it's too convenient. She'll
Yeah.
definitely put it together.
Right. She's not
Why did-
that
She's
dumb.
also a science major. Like, she's not stupid.
Why did Spider-Man have to show up in London?
Because, circumstances were, because you're reading a Spider-Man comic and he's in London
Well,
now.
if Peter Parker's somewhere, Spider-Man's going to show up because someone's going to get in trouble.
Yes, and he has to be Spider-Man.
And he can't not save them.
Exactly. The point is that story happens.
Responsibility. Great power, great responsibility,
Right.
Ben.
So he comes home not having reconciled with Gwen, and he's like, "No, Gwen, I love you," and that's him the entire book. Is that he's sad that his girlfriend is like mad at his alter ego, and that she won't just get over it.
You know, if your girlfriend doesn't like Spider-Man and doesn't know that you're Spider-Man, you're not having a fight. Like, she's not mad at
No,
you.
because
She
they
doesn't
did have a
know
fight
who you
because He
are.
defended her because he's like, "Well, I gotta take pictures
Oh.
of him and stuff," and she's like, "Why do you
see.
gotta stop? Find another job." He's like, "No, it's the only thing I can do to pay
I
for
thought you were
bills."
saying he was
not
upset
only that,
because
but,
of how
like-
mad she was at Spider-Man.
No, I mean he is.
But that's me,
yeah.
so you're mad at me.
Well, he turned it into a problem for himself because he's Peter Parker.
Right.
No, it's just easy because, like, it's so easy to get pictures of Spider-Man when I'm Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's money in the bank,
Yeah,
man.
but she doesn't understand that because she's a dullard who doesn't know that he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So he brings these pictures of him fighting the Hulk to Robbie Robertson, who's technically the editor of Daily Bugle. J. Jonah Jameson's still the owner, but Robbie's kind of the go-to now. And Robbie's fun because Robbie's a great character who's just kind of like, he's a Black American newspaper publisher who is like a father figure to Peter, and obviously knows that he's Spider-Man because he's not an idiot like J. Jonah Jameson is, but he also refuses to rob Peter of his dignity by not telling him, "Peter, we all know you're Spider-Man, please just stop it."
Right.
Like, he just...
By
he-
we all, I mean myself, because everyone else in this paper is a fucking moron.
Exactly. But there's also some drama within this story where he's like, "Yeah, these are great. It's a lucky thing Spider-Man showed up in London while you were there." As if he's trying to say, like, maybe you should be more careful.
Yeah.
But Peter's like, does he know? And it's like, Peter, yes.
Yes.
So
I would love it
Peter.
if, like, Robbie
amazing.
changed a little bit, where it's just like, oh no, the power of the paper is getting to him.
Yeah, I'll let you know, it's a slow news day. I got it. Peter Parker Spider-Man. I got all the evidence to prove it. It's called literally every day of Peter Parker's life. So,
Peter, meet me down to the press room. I have a headline I need to show you.
click. So, Peter goes and meets up with Harry Osborn, who at this point is his roommate. His dad, of course, Norman Osborn, has already had his amnesia, so he's businessman Norman Osborn, and he's not Green Goblin anymore.
Okay.
He's also been offering Peter an opportunity to work at his factory or his business or whatever. He's a chemical manufacturer.
Okay.
So Osborn is like a brilliant businessman and also, I guess, kind of a scientist, but not really.
Does Peter say like, no, I want to like earn it on my own, like he does in the movie?
Kinda.
Okay.
Except that
I
Harry.
respect that.
What's great?
Unlike
is-
my own son.
Yeah, no. Harry goes, hey, Pete, now that you're back, listen, my dad offered you that job, and like, you're an idiot for not saying yes because you've been living rent-free in my apartment because you can't afford to live here.
Right.
So I'm just going to go ahead and tell him you take the job. And Peter's like, so he does.
I can't argue with that. I have been living rent-free in your apartment.
Yes.
Fair enough.
So Peter literally is like,
So
all right.
Peter moves out and he
Okay.
moves back in with Aunt May.
Yeah, no. He's like, no.
I want to get laid.
Yes. And he is, probably. In Sins Past, they retcon that he and Gwen had never had sex, but we all know they are. So anyway, Peter goes to Osborn's office, not only to kind of like affirm the job, but also to kind of see if he's still an amnesiac.
Okay.
Because if he knows that I'm Spider-Man, it's over.
Right,
We're gonna
I'll
have
have
fight
to
right
kill him.
now.
Yeah.
I'll have to kill him. He has no solution, and neither do the writers, for what we're going to do about Green Goblin if he ever finds out.
Right.
Which, of course, we want him to because he's Spider-Man's greatest nemesis right now.
Right.
There's an answer. Shh, shh, shh.
Yeah,
It's fine.
he's not a murderer. So he goes.
But he has no plan, so you don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
He
Maybe
might
he's
freak
just gonna
out and
freak
just
out.
kill him out of.
I'm saying
It's like,
that,
I don't know what to do.
I'm saying the writers have
shit.
no plan. But yeah,
Right.
oops. I guess this is me now.
I guess I'll kill everyone now.
Yeah, because that's how it works.
Stop robbing that bank.
Well, I already killed one guy. What does it matter?
Yeah, right. The dam's open.
Blam, 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 blam.
Hey, Jonah, I'm coming for you. Crack.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm a good person is because I've always been a good person.
Yeah,
if
if I
I
ever
no
have a
longer
moment
haven't
of-
always been a good person, then it's over.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hell.
Yeah. Oh, I'm already going to hell.
You can't
so-
go to more hell.
Yeah. So here we go.
That's the only thing I can
That's
think of
it.
to explain.
I'm the Punisher now.
Yeah, I feel like there's some kind of understanding level if you kill the Green Goblin
Yeah.
versus everybody else. Anyway, so he meets up
No,
with Norman.
Sal, murder is murder.
Osborn's like, "Hey, Pete, Harry just told me you took the job. That's great. It's gonna be awesome." Pete's like, "Yeah, it is gonna be awesome. It will be nice to make money."
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he didn't tell you it was an internship?
Spider-Man's swinging around. He's kind of like musing about his life when he sees this dude who's tripping balls on the top of a roof, and the cops are down below. They got like nets or whatever. They're like, "Sir, please."
Oh, that big trampoline?
Yeah. And he's like, I'm a bird. I can fly. And Spider-Man catches him, and he's like, "Man,
Who do you think you are?
I
Superman?
can fly. Woo.
no." Spider-Man's immediately like, "This guy's tripping balls." Spider-Man, by the way, is also public enemy number 1 in New York. The cops want to get him. He's a vigilante at this point.
Sure.
But he's risking getting caught by the police to save this kid and give him to the cops.
Yeah.
And the cops like, give him a pass.
They do.
Yeah.
They're like, one of them's like, "Isn't he wanted?" And they're like, "Well, I'm not going to bother him now. He saved this kid. He did our job. Why not?
Yeah.
Leave him alone. What's your problem, man?"
Everybody gets one.
Yeah. That's where you get the idea. So Peter has to meet up with Harry and Mary Jane because Mary Jane is in a play that's off Broadway. They make a point of saying, like, if it was more off Broadway, it'd be in Hoboken. Which I really think is funny. But
Joke. Yeah.
so Pete meets up with Mary Jane, Harry, and Norman because at this point, Harry and Mary Jane are dating. Pete and Gwen, kind of on the outs, but are technically an item. And Norman's there too. So why not?
And Norman's there too.
Yeah. And Norman's the gross old man who's coming with them.
Yeah.
So Mary Jane is like, "Yay, you guys made it. Good, Peter, you're here. This is awesome." And she is so inappropriately flirting with Peter in front of Harry, and Harry's like, "What is your problem?"
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Mary Jane, you're here with me.
No, he's
You're making
okay.
a fool of me.
In the movie, he is like that. And by the way, there is a line in this story that is directly used in Spider-Man 2002.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I don't think that Harry says it, but it's Harry's line in the movie where he says, "Just keep your mouth shut about things you don't understand."
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that is so... I remember thinking at the time, I'm like, that's such an inappropriate thing to say. And it's in this book, and I'm like, wow!
That's cool.
I read this like years
Keep your
ago. I don't
mouth
remember every
shut
single
about
one.
things you don't understand.
Yeah. But, so Mary
That
Jane...
sounds like Mary Jane's dad said that in the movie.
No, Harry says it to Mary Jane about her defending herself against Norman calling her a slut in so many words.
Yep.
Oh.
That's right. Yeah.
And Aunt May gives her the business. She's like, "Harry Osborn."
Yeah. That's a good scene.
It's a great scene. I love that scene. So the whole team is waiting outside. Mary Jane's making it uncomfortable for everybody, but they're all still outside because they're waiting for Robbie Robertson's son, Randy. And Randy shows up, And Randy's like, hey guys, what's going on? Sorry I was delayed. There was this police emergency. It had to do with the guy. And he's talking about how like drugs are messed up and how it's like, you know,
Drugs are bad.
drugs are bad, okay? But no, he says like, man, the problem is like, drugs affect everybody, not just people like me, but when it does affect like black people in New York who have a lower income status, it makes us look bad, and it actually is a thing that affects everybody. You know, and it's great because Randy then points at Osborn, and he's like, okay, boomer. Because he literally is like, you know, you don't know what you're talking. People like you think you're above us and drugs, and you're not. Like, drugs can affect you and me, and you don't do anything about it. You know, you have all this money and all this influence, and you could use it to like help people, but you don't. And Osborn's like, what?
I'll have you know I experimented with
dare
drugs,
you.
and I turned into a goblin
Exactly,
man.
so please.
You don't know the first thing about drugs.
I've done more drugs than you.
I'm the drug king,
I'm the
motherfucker.
Scarface. But anyway, but it's great because Randy's just like,
Harry, get me my glider.
Randy literally like starts some shit with Osborn and then goes like, anyway, I gotta go. He like riles up Osborn. He's like, no one has the right to talk to me like that. He's like, anyway, white bread, I gotta go. And you're like, thanks, Randy. Way to stir some shit up for no reason whatsoever. But I mean, like, you know, it's
Well, let's go see a nice show.
yeah. All right. Well, let's all sit next to each other now. Thanks a lot, Randy.
Well, you can't take a joke.
Oh, you're seat AA23, and Norman, you're AA. Oh. That was gonna be an interesting show.
Yeah.
So they go and they see the show, and Mary Jane is awesome, and everyone's like hooting and hollering about how awesome she is. The show seemingly is nothing more than her dancing and being sexy, but I digress. So the show is over, they all had a great time, and Peter's like, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to leave. Because if she flirts with me anymore, Harry's gonna kick me out on my ass.
Yep.
So he's about to leave, and they're all gonna go eat dinner, and Harry's like, let's go. And Mary Jane's like, is Peter coming? He goes, this might be surprising for you to realize, Mary Jane, but Peter has his own shit to do.
Whoa.
So they leave, and Peter's about to go home, but he noticed that Osborn was kind of freaking out when they were leaving, because when they were leaving the theater, they make a point of saying that Osborn owns the building, which is part of the reason why he went.
Like the theater?
Yeah.
Oh,
Osborn has
okay.
many properties.
Yeah.
And
Ah, that's why Mary Jane got the part.
yeah, maybe. Probably.
Oh.
Hey, my son's girlfriend needs a part in your show.
Yeah.
What?
You're like
No, I'm a
3
show.
times off Broadway. Just do it.
Okay,
do it.
I bought your building.
Yeah.
Now do it.
My son's girlfriend needs a
Now
part
you're
in your
gonna
show.
do it.
Okay.
All right.
Fine.
Yeah.
Done. Sold.
Thank you.
So they're walking by this one room in the building, and Osborn like starts freaking out. He's like, "What's behind this door? I have to know!" And then they leave, and Pete's like, "Whoa, what is behind that door?" So then,
What?
So Peter dressed up as Spider-Man, and he goes to the door, like, or he heads towards the door, and he's stalking Osborn because Osborn's like a man possessed. Like, I gotta find out what's behind the door. I gotta see what's behind the door. So then Spider-Man goes to the building. Osborn goes in the door. It's a secret room that Osborn kept all of his goblin shit.
That's why he was obsessed with it. Some part of his brain was
Knew,
like,
if I
yeah.
get to it, I'll wake up. So he does. He becomes Green Goblin, and then he's like, "Oh, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, I'm gonna friggin' kill you!" And Pete's like, "Great."
Damn it! So what happened was, as he went past the door, he heard like goblin cackling from behind it.
Let me tell you, it's not in this friggin' comic. But yeah,
If I was to make a movie in 2002 about it, that's
I would
how I
absolutely
would depict it.
absolutely, yeah. So
It would be leading him down the alleyway.
yeah, he looks into a puddle. He sees his weird Willem Dafoe face looking back at him, going like, "Ah."
Yeah, you're pathetic or whatever.
Or whatever
I
I
don't even
say.
fucking know what he uses to taunt him with.
Anyway, so
The board was all wrong.
out am I? So anyway,
That's right.
Goblin has a couple of other weapons in his arsenal that include like power dampening gases that like get away, that isolate an aspect of Peter's powers and makes them go away. Don't ask how he does it. He just does.
It's like a video game.
He
It's the
just-
level where you like lose some of your abilities and have
he
to fight
just
anyway.
does. So Spider-Man and Green Goblin fight.
Is it just a can of Raid? Does he spray him with
No,
Raid?
it looks like a pumpkin bomb, but the wick shoots smoke. So they're fighting up
Oh, you
in
should
the
have used an
air.
actual bomb. You would have killed him.
I know, but no, it's more elaborate this way. So anyway, Osborn, he fights Spider-Man midair. He knocks Spider-Man off of him. Spider-Man falls. He sticks to a wall but hides. So Osborn immediately assumes he's killed him. So he's like, "Hooray! The first Spider-Man to borrow the world!" So then
There! I've killed him and there's not a body to be found.
Yes.
Clearly
He
I've
even-
won.
He must have
didn't even
vaporized.
look for the body. He was like, he fell. Hooray!
fell, he's done.
So he leaves. And then Spider-Man's like, whoo, he thinks I'm dead. Awesome. So he dresses up as Peter Parker and he goes home, and Harry's home and he's popping pills. He's so depressed
Oh, no.
from his ordeal with Mary Jane.
You understand? They're Viagra. I need them right now. I feel really bad about myself.
Anyway, so he's taking
They didn't have Viagra in fucking
They
1970,
sure
whatever.
didn't. So Harry's taking pills. He passes out. Pete's like, that sucks. Anyway,
Yeah.
So the next day.
That's it?
Well,
Yep.
like, no, he
Well, he
he's like-
always has the pills. He's just taking a lot of them. It's
Yeah,
like,
well-
I don't know if he should be taking that many pills. Not like he bought these pills from a really sketchy guy.
That happens later. Right
Yeah,
now, he's just taking
He's
prescription
on the
pills.
progress toward that.
Yes. But he is literally like, okay, man, he's asleep. I can't guilt him into not
Oh, at least he
taking
falls
drugs.
in his bed.
Yeah, he-
I just thought he was on the floor.
No, he falls into bed. So Pete and Harry are on campus. Mary Jane's like, hey, Pete. And Pete's like, oh, great.
Oh my God.
Fantastic.
Oh, good. And Pete's dressed up like Mr. T?
Yeah, those are some swell chains. It's 1973. All right, so Pete
Need I
looks
say
like,
more?
So Pete looks like this. Mary Jane says, those are some sweet chains, Pete. Where'd you get them? And he goes, Gwen got them for me. You getting the hint?
Hey,
You need to stop
knock
being
it
nice
off.
to me.
Yeah, literally
You're
that.
going to give me problems with my roommate and my girlfriend.
Literally
Yeah.
that. If she ever comes back from London.
Yeah.
So Harry wanders off because Mary Jane is flirting with Peter, and he's like, what is your damage? Like, you're with Harry, and you're going to ruin my life. What's wrong with you? And she's like, maybe I'll tell you sometime. Maybe we should go out and find out. He's like, oh my God.
This is like the editors.
Yeah.
Like, the editors are Mary Jane, and all the readers are Peter Parker.
Yeah, like,
being
what are you doing?
Knock it off!
No!
Oh, big change is coming.
Yo, Mary Jane.
Oh.
You like her, right? We do. So as Harry's wandering off, this scummy dude is like, hey, pal, just like strike out with that lady. You know what'll pep you up? Some pills. They're gonna, you know, we got uppers and downers.
Yeah, this is how it works.
Yeah.
This
is
guy
how it
wears a
works.
sketchy suit. His hair is blonde. His
it's
mustache is
awesome.
black.
Yes.
I
This guy
love this
looks like a
guy.
vaudevillian, like
He's a Sniper Whiplash villain. He's
a charlatan.
Yes, he is. He's a snake oil salesman.
That
Like,
sounds
I mean,
great.
Hey,
That's
I
what
took all
I
your
need.
pills.
It's a harder decision than that. He's like, oh God, why? He's really depressed and he feels really unsure of himself, and so he's lured into this whole thing. So
Yeah.
he takes him and he goes, well,
Will it fix my hideous hair?
Oh no, there's no fixing that.
Oh no, that's
I was gonna
genetics.
say like, sure.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
You mean the Osborne curl? No, nothing can fix that.
The Oz cornrows? No. So Harry takes them and he's like, I'll see you next time. And Harry's like, oh no, this is the first and last time. He goes, yeah, that's what they all say.
Uh-huh.
So
That's why this first one was free.
No, these are heavily addictive. You will be back.
no, you will be back.
That's how I
and you
make
will pay
money.
me for them. Pete goes to Osborn's office because he's technically working there now, and he wants to
Mm-hmm.
see if he's like there and if he's freaking out or not. He's not there. He never came back.
Mm.
So he's like, okay, good. That's probably for the best. Crap. Why did I go to the office? The secretary's going to tell him that I was there. He's going to know I'm not dead. Why did I do that? What's my problem? Anyway, so then Harry runs up to Mary Jane. He's like, "Hey MJ, what's going on?" She's like, "Whoa, Harry, you're pretty intense. What's your deal?" And he's like, "I'm feeling great. Listen, I just want you to know, I don't really feel too bad about you rejecting me like that. Like, I forgive you." And she's like, "Oh, you forgive me? Well, the reality is, like, we're not really together."
Oh shit.
And he's like, "Oh." And she's like, "Yeah, no. Well, like, you were fun and like rich, but like, we were never like gonna be an item. Like, you're a square. See you around, Curly." And then like leaves him, and he's like, "Oh, geez, no, I need more pills."
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so-
amazing.
So Pete goes home. Harry's freaking out at home. And Pete's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing? What's going on?" Harry's like, "Oh, what's going on is you're getting out. Get out. Get out. You're out.
Oh, my
MJ gave me the foot, so you get out of here." And so
What?
Because I see you two are all chummy.
Yeah,
he
because
showed, actually, he said, she showed me the gate.
Oh. Yeah. You're so cool.
Some hip.
Yeah.
Slang.
So now I'm showing you the door.
That's right. She
or
showed me the
whatever.
gate, so I'm showing you the door.
Well, every time
you're getting
someone
my foot.
closes a gate, you have to
Open a
also
window?
close the door on
yeah.
somebody else.
The point is, he's kicking him out of the apartment.
Yeah, the point is you're gone.
So Pete's like, "Dude, what? Like, come on, man."
Yeah, I didn't tell her to do that, man. What,
Oh no, he's great. He goes like, "Hey, listen, you know what, Barry? Maybe you shouldn't have been such a jackass about it. Like, I'm sick of you taking all your bullshit out on me anyway. Like, I got enough crap on my plate. Your dad's a goblin, man. He's trying to kill me. Like, shut up."
Thanks for getting me a job.
Hey, whoa, whoa,
shut
whoa,
up.
whoa, 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 whoa.
No, he didn't
what was
say
that?
He's just stressed.
I said I can't work at my job anymore because
No,
that's
no,
freaking
no,
me
no.
out.
The part, the something about a goblin.
Oh yeah,
What?
no, I'm just saying he's acting like a goblin. Like, you look like a goblin right now. You're sweating all the time. Forget it. It's a metaphor, man. Shut up. Anyway, well, what were you saying? He's like, I'm saying you're out. Get out. And he's like, all right,
Well,
that's fair.
I mean, we
pay
don't have
rent.
any kind of formal agreement
Yeah, there's no
I
rent.
give you money in exchange for a place to live. So,
So
I guess I don't have a leg
That's
to stand
completely
on.
fair. I'll leave. And then Harry's like, that's not what I want you to do. I don't want you to leave. I don't want to be alone. And Pete's like, Jesus.
Make up your mind.
No, he's like,
What's wrong with you?
He's freaking out.
Yeah.
Slaps him across the face and
You
he
are
walks
freaking
out.
out.
So he goes, listen, dude, man. So he's like, listen, dude, just take it easy. I'll be right back. So Pete leaves, and then Harry's like, no,
I'm just
Pete,
gonna
don't
go
leave.
bang Mary Jane real fast,
Yeah,
and then I'll be
real
right back.
quick. So he leaves, and Harry's just like, starts taking pills.
Yep, he takes
So-
all the pills.
So Pete's like, jeez.
Oh my god.
That's a lot of pills.
So
a lot of pills.
It's a metaphor. It's a visualization of the pills overwhelming his mind. It's like the scene in Winnie the Pooh with all the heffalumps and woozles and shit. So
You're telling me he didn't take all those pills? Because that would kill an army.
clearly he didn't. So anyway, Pete's swinging around the city. He's looking for Green Goblin.
Ah.
He doesn't find him. He comes home, and Harry's just practically catatonic.
Yeah.
And so he's about to call the ambulance when Green Goblin shows up at the window, and he's like, "Hey, Pete, let's fight." Pete's like, "Oh shit."
Jeez. Oh,
Do
good
you
thing
want to do
Harry's
this
out
in front of your
cold.
son?
Yeah. Well, he's like, "What son? I don't have a son. I'm the Goblin." Yeah. So then,
The Goblin doesn't have any sons.
so Pete's like, "Okay, I gotta play this just right." So the Goblin smashes through the window. And Pete picks up Harry, and he goes, "Look at your son. I have to go and take your son to the hospital." And the Goblin's like freaking out. He's like, "What? This boy looks familiar, and he's sick, and oh no!" And he just Goblin glides away. And Pete's like, "Whew."
Oh, thank God that worked.
So then he calls the ambulance, and then they take him away.
Right. So he doesn't really have amnesia. He has like,
Schizophrenia.
yeah, he
Or
has
some,
like a
medically
psychosis
induced-
where he's like, I have to be the Goblin.
Yes.
And in order to be the Goblin, I have to act like I don't know anything about my life.
Right.
But I still really do.
Subconsciously, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause
like,
it's not,
I
well, it's not
know
like he's-
what's
it's not
Whenever
like
he's the Goblin, he never deals with normal everyday stuff. It's not like he's going to board meetings.
No. Well, and he also doesn't really understand that he is Norman Osborn during this period. You know, at some point or another, there's no moment in his mental thing where he's like, "Well, the jig is up. Peter knows that I'm full of shit." No, he's literally like,
No, I'm just
"Who
saying,
is
like,
this boy?"
he needs the Goblin persona.
Yeah.
And that's why he, like, can't remember.
Exactly.
But,
But
say
in
it's like
reality-
split personality. Like,
It's more
the
like
Goblin doesn't, like,
Know
that's
him.
not my son.
that. Yeah.
But there's something inside of
right,
me
but
that
it's
is
my
forcing
brain.
me to not hurt him.
Exactly. Yeah. So, meanwhile, in London, Gwen Stacy.
sorry, what?
In London, Gwen
Yeah.
Stacy is like, "Oh,
It's a globe hopping adventure.
I thought leaving would make me feel better, but all I do is miss Peter. I should come home."
Right now.
So she does.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
literally what
you
happens.
shouldn't have left.
She has this moment where she's like, she's like, she's crying. She's
crying.
like,
I was a fool.
Oh, what a fool I was. Like, what if Peter won't take me back now? And so this is my fight song. And she kicks the door open. She puts her jacket on, and she hops a plane back to New York.
So for no reason except that the book needs her to come back, she decides to come back.
Yeah, well, because she's the main character in the book. Like, she left
I
just
know,
to cause
but it's not
drama.
like there's an inciting incident, which
Not
is
at
like,
all.
I don't belong here. She's just like, eventually she just decides to go back.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So Pete is
And
walking
while
around
Gwen Stacy's out of the picture, Mary Jane has been hitting on Peter.
like
Oh, yeah.
aggressively.
Yep.
And then she threw out her, backup guy, Harry
Yep.
Osborn, when he pushed the issue a little bit.
Yep. She was just like, oh, never mind, we're breaking up.
Well, she's like, "Oh, Jesus, he's getting too into it. All right.
Yeah.
It's over."
It's like he can't handle me constantly flirting with his best friend or something. Like,
what a weirdo.
"Jeez,
What a
buddy."
square.
Oh man, does Pete
So
run into the drug
clingy.
dealer?
He does. He's wandering on campus. The drug dealer's like, "Hey, did your friend like the
that
jolt?
stuff
I got
I
more
gave
for
him?"
you." And he goes, "Oh, you're the guy who sold my friend
Oh,
pills.
yeah.
Hey, if you come near me, I'm gonna freaking murder your ass." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you think you're gonna murder me, huh? Well, come on back." And so they go to this alley, and this guy's got some ruffians.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna kick the shit out of these drug dealers.
Oh, yeah.
But I also don't want them to find out I'm Spider-Man, so I have to pretend like I know karate. So he starts doing like chopping moves.
Right.
And so he immediately takes out the other two guys. And then the main guy is like, "That karate crap isn't gonna work on me," pulls out a gun. And then Pete just busts out spider moves, just slaps the gun out of his hand, and then he's like, "I gotta make sure I don't kill this guy."
Right.
So he open palm slaps this guy across the face twice and knocks his ass out. And right before he falls under unconsciousness, he's like, "If I see you anywhere near here and you start selling anything, I'm gonna be back and I'm gonna crush you to death. It's literally just like
Wow.
that kind of aggressive.
I would
And
love
he's
to see him do it like a cat to a printer, like.
Yeah.
"Nyeh."
Yeah. No, it's more sweet where it's just like, food. He slaps him like a bitch. There's a little moment where J. Jonah Jameson talks to Robbie because he hears through like the lines of communication that Harry Osborn, noted son of businessman Norman Osborn, is in the hospital and they're suspecting it's drugs.
Drugs.
And Robbie's like, yeah, man. And like, what? What do you want to know? Like, you want to know if I'm going to run the story or not? Because I know that like Osborn is a contributor to this paper and stuff. And Jonah's like, I just want to know what your angle's going to be. And Robbie's like, my angle is I'm going to be talking about how drugs affect all levels of society, not just the ghettos.
It's something my son was talking to me about.
Yeah, exactly. And literally Jonah's like, that sounds like a great angle. I want you to run it.
Oh, I thought he was gonna be like, no, the only stories about the Scourge like attacking our streets I want is about Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, is he busy proliferating drugs throughout the city? No, it's
Are
to
these
show
spider
you
drugs?
that Jonah has integrity.
Right.
And at first you're teasing the idea that maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's going
Right.
to quash the story, but
Right.
actually he's like, no, this is a more
I'm
socially
all about
responsible
this
story.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm actually the most behind this story.
Yeah.
I want to make sure you run the story.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah.
Well, did I pick the right guy to run this thing?
Right. All right.
There's only one other like visit to the Bugle after this, and it's after Gwen dies. Basically, Robbie gets through the grapevine that Gwen Stacy died. He's like, I knew her father. What the hell?
Yeah.
And Spider-Man shows up, and he's like, hey, and listen, I need to know if like Norman Osborn owned any like special warehouses that are like bizarre, like any weird properties. And Robbie tells him where they are, and then he goes and has his final confrontation with Green Goblin. But that's the only other time that Bugle comes up.
Right.
All right.
So I mean, like, if you're wondering, like, why isn't this story like have a 3-act structure? It's because it's serialized fiction.
Right.
Literally. So Green Goblin's flying around, and he's like a little addled because of Harry's like condition, and so Spider-Man fights the Green Goblin, and Gobby takes out, I think, his adhesion power, and he coincidentally runs out of webbing.
Oh,
so
geez.
he's like, I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. So he jumps on Goblin's shoulders, and he tries like steering him with his thighs towards the hospital to make him look at Harry. Which he does, and he's like, look at what's happening to your son. And he's like, ah! So he
God.
freaks out.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he freaks out, and then he falls, unconscious. He faints, and then the Goblin persona goes back into amnesia, and Osborn's back. Spider-Man strips him of his Goblin costume, burns the suit,
Oh, nice.
And destroys the glider?
Oh yeah, well it doesn't matter. He's got 1,000 gliders, so he gets rid of the glider too. So there.
Yeah, he's down one glider.
So he's going around back to his apartment, and as he's there, Gwen Stacy comes out of friggin' nowhere, like out of a back alley, and she's like, "Peter, I couldn't stay away." And he's like, "Gwen, is this some kind of beautiful dream?" And they get back together, and you're like, "Yay!" Because like you're reading this issue
Wow.
to issue, so you're like,
Yeah.
"Wow."
You see, I was hoping that she would get there right as he was undressing from Spider-Man to
like,
Peter Parker. And she's
"You!"
like, it's you?
Yeah. No, Gwen never finds out until the clone conspiracy. So then, like, there's another issue or two between the story, but this is collected just the things that matter.
Oh, okay.
So during that time that Osborn loses the Goblin persona, he is even more aggressive and even more of like a psycho about everything.
Oh, boy.
So he pulls Harry out of the hospital, moves him into his mansion, and has like a doctor come and check on him.
Okay.
And the doctor's like, he should be in a hospital.
Right.
No, but I pay you to keep my son out of hospital.
Yeah,
And
but
Ho-
my
yeah.
professional opinion is that he should be in a
And
hospital.
Osborn's like, noted. Would you like to be fired or not? And he's like, fine.
Yeah.
So Harry's being cared for at the Osborn estate, and Osborn is being a jackass. Also, the news of this, plus Osborn being Goblin all the time, is causing Osborn's stock to fall.
Oh,
so
boy.
Osborn's like losing money hand over fist.
Right.
He's talking to his financial guy, and the guy's like, if you go at this rate, you will be broke.
Right.
So he's
you got to
got-
change it up.
Yeah,
You got
so
to
he's,
stop.
so he's freaking out. So the gang, Mary Jane, Gwen, and Peter go to visit with Harry, and Osborn is like, "You people are the reason why Harry's like this. If Harry didn't have friends, he wouldn't have known about drugs or getting involved with all this stuff. Like you guys are the problem." So
What?
he kicks them out.
None of them gave him drugs
No.
or suggested he use them.
No, but they're a bad influence.
Yeah,
Like,
but you're around and drugs were in him, so therefore you are
he's
responsible.
read from the Dead Poets Society. Like he's just
Yep.
he's blaming everybody
It's
else.
the youths, it's your culture and everything about you.
Yeah, exactly. So Osborn gets the bad news that he's going to go broke, and Harry is like shambling around. He's like, Dad, why are you yelling? He's like, oh, it's nothing to be concerned with, son. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry for all my problems. And he's like, yeah, Jesus.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. He's a lot less of a deliberately bad dad. He's not like, I wish you were dead. Get away from me.
No, he's more like,
Just
you're
dismissive.
causing me problems,
Right
but I am
now.
protecting you also.
Exactly.
Or I think I am.
Look,
Yeah.
I'm not happy that I have to do this kind of stuff, but I'll do it because I love you.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, he definitely loves his
I
son.
love you, Harry.
Versus Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is like, I wish you weren't my son.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? You're not my son.
Well, and future versions of Norman Osborn in the comics are also like that. But so Osborn is freaking out more than usual, such that he is actually hallucinating Spider-Man attacking him. And he's like, why? Why is Spider-Man attacking me? Why am I visiting? Oh, I'm the Goblin.
Oh, he puts two and two together?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, the writers are clearly done with this amnesiac Osborn shit.
Yep. They're like, nope.
They're like, this is
That's
stupid.
weird.
And so they're like, okay, this is dumb. We need to knock this off. Like, literally, it's that. Like,
Okay.
so the gang is sad that Harry is like this. They're even more agitated because Norman was a jerk to them. So they split up. Mary Jane goes off. Gwen goes to Harry and Pete's apartment where she waits for Peter. Peter, of course, is being Spider-Man or whatever.
Yep.
And so when Osborn has his breakdown, he realizes he's Goblin. He becomes the Goblin, and then he goes to Harry and Peter's apartment to go get Peter.
Right.
When he gets there, it's Gwen Stacy instead.
So, of course, he pumpkin bombs the hell out of the place.
Yeah.
He technically pumpkin bombs it in terms of he steals her and leaves a pumpkin bomb as like a calling card. It doesn't explode, so it's really more like he leaves a plastic jack-o'-lantern in this case. But Peter goes home after having looked for the Green Goblin the entire time, and when he gets there, instead there is like Gwen's designer handbag and a pumpkin bomb.
Because it was her hairband.
No, she needs that. Otherwise, how will you know it's her when she's on the bridge? So Peter's like, crap,
Yeah.
she took my girl. He took my girl. What am I going to do? So he's swinging around the city, and then he realizes that she is being held atop the George Washington Bridge, which makes sense because Norman Osborn picked a place that is named after his favorite president because George Washington appears on the dollar bill because Norman Osborn worships money. No, that is stupid. Also, they drew the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
But in the original printing, the writing said the George Washington Bridge.
Wow.
When it comes to the bridge, the writer said George Washington. The artist drew the Brooklyn Bridge.
Because it's a better looking bridge.
It's a more iconic bridge, or it was the bridge that was outside his window at the time.
Granted, they're both suspension bridges.
There was no, yes, that's true. There was no Google image search at the time.
If I lived in New York at the time and I was reading this, he says the George Washington Bridge, and it's in the same panel as clearly the Brooklyn Bridge. I'd just be like, you fucking jerk. You don't even know what goddamn bridge it is.
How can I take any of this
Posers.
seriously?
Yeah.
They're all in New York, by the way, so they should know.
Incomprehensible.
By the
Well,
way.
the problem is you can't change it.
No.
Because there's a whole joke about it being named after his favorite president.
Oh, I know, but that's stupid. So, in subsequent printings, depending on which version you have, it's either the pure version, which is the one that's wrong, or the better version, which is, it says the Brooklyn Bridge. They erase the rest of the speech bubbles.
Because you don't need them.
Because you don't need them.
Because he literally says his spider sense led him there. So
Yeah.
he doesn't even need that stupid leap in logic.
No. So it's
I
just...
could have followed her perfume.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Or my heart.
Or just... Because if you look on top of the Brooklyn Bridge, Green Goblin is waving to him.
Yeah, he's like, ah.
I'm here, over here.
Yeah.
Took you like half an hour. What the hell's wrong with you? So
There was a message inside the pumpkin bomb. Just say that.
Yeah, right.
Or anything.
If you want to see your girlfriend alive again.
In every later story, they will say it's the Brooklyn Bridge. Like the future stories will say that. Some future stories will also say the George Washington Bridge. So which is it? Canonically, it should be the Brooklyn Bridge because that's the bridge they're on, and I think geographically speaking, it makes the most sense for it to be the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
Since it's visually the Brooklyn Bridge, we'll say it's the Brooklyn
Every panel says visually it's the Brooklyn Bridge.
And-
one panel he says George Washington.
Remarkably-
he's just fucking wrong.
Yeah, it's the George Washington Bridge, asshole. Some guy on the street.
Yeah.
Because he says it out loud.
Yeah.
Asshole.
Yo.
It's the Brooklyn Bridge. You mook. What is wrong with you?
Hey, boo this man!
Boo!
Boo!
Throw garbage at him. Hey, what the hell are you trying to do? You trying to go over to a bridge that's not the right one? You need a map?
No, you want to go north! The George Washington Bridge is that way!
I
Thanks,
never
citizen.
thought Spider-Man would be such a Goomba.
And then Gwen dies. So
At the end.
they fight. Gwen seemingly is unconscious. She is immobile.
Yeah, she's just lying on
and
the ground.
unresponsive. She's on the ground. Goblin keeps calling him Parker. So if she's awake, the secret's out. But she's not. So it's leading the reader to think, okay, we're good. And in fact, Peter even thinks that to himself. He's like, whew, she's unconscious, thank God. That way, my secret's safe. Like, are you
Right.
seriously still worrying about your relationship right now? So he goes to fight
Yes,
Osborn.
because I'm going to win.
Right.
Yeah.
As he
And
always
when I
would.
win, then I don't want to have to explain
Any of this
Yeah.
to her. I want to explain that I'm only collaterally related to the death of your father. So Pete heads up to Gwen. He finds her there. She's unconscious but alive. And the Green Goblin swoops down with his Goblin Glider and knocks her out of his hands and off the bridge. Peter throws out a couple of web lines. One of them makes contact with her leg. She stops. Her neck snaps. And when he pulls her up, she's dead. He thinks he killed her. And then Green Goblin says, "You fool! A fall from that height would kill anyone. She was dead before your webbing touched her." As if to say, no, don't ever carry this guilt with you.
My arch nemesis?
Yeah, please,
Yeah.
allow me to take on this burden.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I did this.
Yeah, I did this.
I don't want you
Yeah,
to blame
clearly
yourself.
And by the way,
I'm responsible.
I want
If
you
you
to blame
want to like make that work, just say he killed her on top of the bridge. She's
Yeah.
dead. And then he fell, and it's like it
Well,
didn't matter that her neck snapped.
It's like they're not sure if the reader will understand that it's an open question whether or not Spider-Man is responsible.
Yes. So let's
because
close it by
she was
having-
falling anyway, don't forget. So let's make sure that we say that,
Yeah.
that we have a character tell Spider-Man
That he's
that like
absolved.
you don't really have to carry this.
Right.
And the only one who's there is the Green Goblin, so I guess he'll say it even though it doesn't make any sense.
Why would he
No,
do
no,
that?
it makes perfect sense. See, I wanted you to feel bad that I kidnapped your girlfriend, but then I realized that's a little harsh.
It's a little much.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. You may never get over this. So
I thought this was going to be a fun back and forth.
yeah.
You're the good guy, I'm the bad guy. We fight, but we need each other.
And this is like a girl on the train tracks kind of situation. I expect you to snap her freaking neck, you asshole.
I didn't mean to knock her
I'm
off.
sorry, I'm sorry.
I guess.
That was too far. That was too
Yeah,
far.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
Just-
okay. But like,
I'm taking on a lot of guilt here. Anyway, what's interesting is Peter killed her.
Yeah.
Well, he failed to save her.
He killed her by stopping her with his webbing and her neck snapping.
Well, she would have died though.
Yes, and in
Yes.
fact, I've read a number of reports about the physics involved. Here's
Yeah.
the deal: he couldn't have jumped down fast enough to catch her, so he had to use a web line. But
Yeah.
if he used a web line, if she was traveling at such a speed and distance, she definitely would have snapped her neck, and she definitely would have died. Even if she didn't snap her neck, she probably still would have died
Yeah.
from the sudden halt by the webbing. So,
And if she hadn't died by the sudden halt, they would have just written in that, like, you know, on the swing down, she crashed into the
Yeah,
building.
she was slammed
bridge
into
or
the
something.
side of the bridge because
I got her.
was on the bridge.
Thunk.
There was
Right.
no way else for her to
Right.
go but to pull.
he did that in Ultimate Spider-Man when he saves Mary Jane, and the inverse of that, when
Yeah.
Green Goblin throws Mary Jane off the bridge, and then he swings and he gets her, but then like he hits the wall. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But,
Oh my God, there was no way to save Gwen.
What's really fun is I was looking at some interviews, and Conway says, "I don't know who put that snap onomatopoeia in."
Oh.
Which means maybe Conway didn't put that in, which means maybe Romita put it in. Maybe the bloodthirsty maniac of this book is John Romita Sr., because he's the one who suggested they kill Gwen in the first place. So maybe he's like, no, I gotta make sure she's dead. I gotta put that snap in there. And it's like, whoa. But that snap makes it all the more horrifying and pins the death entirely on Spider-Man.
No,
Right.
I'm just a chiropractor. It's a good snap.
Well, she's still dead.
She
that
feels
would
really
be a
good
crack.
afterwards.
Yeah, that'd be a
This
crack.
was a snap.
Yeah, you don't want the bones to
Yeah,
snap.
your chiropractor doesn't snap your neck.
Yeah. They seemingly are innocuous terms, but have a lot of subtext to them. So anyway, so Spider-Man kills Gwen Stacy, and then he pulls her up, and he has this really horrifyingly sad moment where he's talking to her.
Yeah,
He's,
well,
"Don't you see?"
he's talking about how great he is for saving
Oh, I know.
her.
Spider Powers, I love you. Oh boy, you know another.
I'm the most dashing hero on 2 legs.
Oh.
Oh.
No, he says, "Don't you understand? I saved you."
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah," and it's great because he's like, "No, because I'm the superhero. This is
Right.
the scene where I saved you." In Marvel's, Phil Sheldon is like, this is the moment that makes him lose his faith in superheroes because the hero loses.
Yeah.
Well, I finally could have been like,
does
no,
lose.
I saved you. You can like Spider-Man now. Finally, I can tell you I'm
saved
Spider-Man.
You still killed my dad.
This is. I don't understand what Goblin says here. He says a fall from that height would have killed anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you. Before they struck the ground.
Yes. The idea being
What?
like she reached like a terminal velocity and died. Like
In midair?
yes.
That's not what happens.
That, like you're
that's not what happens,
that, like her
buddy.
brain must have like hemorrhaged on the way down or something. That's what Osborn is saying. Which
Well,
of course
Well, he's a crazy goblin, though, so I guess that's what crazy goblins say.
Look at people who jump out of airplanes and parachute.
Yeah.
They
What are
reach
you talking
terminal
about?
velocity.
That's way
They're
higher.
alive.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, don't worry. If you ever like fell out of an airplane or something, you'd die way before you hit the ground.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That might be comforting for you,
But
but no, you will be awake every
entire
second
time.
until you smash into the ground. Sorry.
Thanks.
No, had she hit the water,
Then she
a
would've
fall
died.
from that height would have
Yes.
killed her.
Yes.
Yeah. What you should say is a fall from that height would kill anyone, even if you hit the water.
Right.
It still would kill you. The
Nope.
water won't be enough.
No. I need to say that she died before you even hit her with your webbing.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I thought you made it like,
why?
No, it was like
then
she
why
was.
are you snapping
she was
her neck?
metaphorically dead because there was nothing you could have done to save her, so she was already dead. No.
No,
She
I'm
was
saying-
dead literally before she hit the ground. She was already dead
Or
somehow.
how about I killed her with my goblin glider when I impacted
Yeah,
her? She
or
was dead before she even fell off the building.
She was dead before you even got here, man. I fucking killed her, and then I just told you she was still alive.
Right. Nope.
Any
none
of
those
that.
Things. Then, in Clone Conspiracy, another horrible retcon involving clones, they say that she was actually awake the whole time, and
Yeah.
she hears the conversation and then dies when he snaps her neck. And so her last moments when she's falling are, "Damn you, Peter Parker, why did you lie to me?"
Wow.
Which is like, "Hey, thanks."
That's
so
messed
another one,
up.
I'm like, "No, that
Well, also
didn't
she's
happen."
awake the whole time and doesn't
her
do
eyes are
anything.
closed.
She
She
just,
can't
hang
move.
on.
She didn't want him to
She
save
can
her.
only
She was so
hear.
horrified. She was like, "No, I just want to pretend like I'm unconscious and stuff." You're like, "Get out of here."
Shut
No, I'm dead. No, I'm
up.
dead.
That's
Yeah.
clearly
That
not what's
sucks.
drawn here. That's.
Yeah.
Stop
no.
faking it, man. I know you're awake.
That sucks. Like
That's so
That's
horrible.
as bad as Sins Past. Get out of here.
Yep.
So, no. Gwen
Yeah.
Stacy sleeping with the Green Goblin is the worst.
He's okay. I kept reading. I now see what he meant by she was dead before she would have been dead before she struck the ground.
Yeah.
The shock of a sudden fall. Death will come more quickly and surely than the shock of a sudden fall.
No,
he
he's talking about
thinks
his death.
that yeah, but he thinks that the shock of the fall
Yes.
would kill her.
Right.
The shock of
I
like
fell.
falling.
Oh no! Die.
Ugh.
Yes.
It's so
Essentially,
horrifying.
she died from fright.
Who is she, Aunt May?
Yeah.
She's not a she's 20.
Except she was unconscious before she even fell. She didn't even know she was falling.
No. Yeah. What shock? The shock to her brain? The shock to her central nervous system? No.
The shock to her equilibrium. Her
rea-
body was
yeah.
flailing.
Yeah, the reality is Spider-Man kills her. So she dies.
So she's dead.
Yep. So Spider-Man, so Green Goblin's like, cool, lol, later, and then he leaves. And Peter's like,
I can't believe you killed your girlfriend.
yeah, lol, made you kill your girlfriend. So
I made you kill your girlfriend.
anyway, so
So then he fucking threatens to torture and murder
Yeah.
Green Goblin.
yeah, and if
It's
ever
amazing.
that's justified,
Yeah.
it's now.
Yep.
Anyone who's like, one of the basic tenets of Spider-Man is that he doesn't kill people. We're gonna make an exception in this case because the Green Goblin guy made you kill your girlfriend, so you get to murder him.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, he says, I'm going to destroy you slowly. And when you start begging for me to end it, I'm going to remind you of the one thing.
You killed the woman I love,
Yep.
and for that you're going
And
to
for
die.
that, you're going to die.
But first, I'm going to kill your
hardcore.
son.
Yeah,
Because he
right?
kicked me out of the apartment.
Oh yeah, no, he gives Harry the business too, because it's like, why not? All's fair. He drops off Gwen's body and then fights the Goblin.
Yeah.
And he's fighting him like a completely uncaged animal.
Yep.
And Goblin's like, holy crap, he is freaking out. I gotta get out of here or he's gonna kill me.
No, we always had this little deal.
Yeah, you killed my girlfriend, man. All bets are off. It's on. So literally, Green Goblin just runs away. He's just horrified by how scary Spider-Man can be if he completely abandons his morality.
Wow.
Yeah.
So-
you have superpowers. That's not surprising.
Yeah, Spider-Man barely escapes with his life. He's like, he has this moment where he goes, oh no, I'm falling now, just like Gwen. Like, don't draw
Just-
parallels
yeah.
right now. So he barely
A
survives.
fall from this height will kill me surely.
Yeah.
Web. Wait, I'm alive.
That was
Hey.
the shock of the fall that killed me. I don't
The
know.
shocking fall. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, Goblin lied.
Trying to make me feel better.
That
Ugh.
doesn't make any sense.
What a weirdo. So Spider-Man lands near Gwen, and the cops are there. They're on the scene, and he's like, nobody goes near her, okay? And it's great. You got the rookie, and you got the seasoned veteran cop, and the seasoned veteran cop's like, hey, this poor man, he's hurting, you know? And the rookie's like, no, we gotta get him. He's part of it. And the veteran's like, no.
There's an APB on him.
Yeah, exactly. And the veteran's like, no, don't you see how bad this guy's hurting, man? You gotta back off. And so Spider-Man's like, Gwen Stacy's dead and Spider-Man killed her. And the rookie's like, didn't you hear it? That's a confession. He said that he killed her. We gotta take him in. And the veteran's like, let him go. Shoot to wound. And so like Spider-Man swings away and they try to shoot at him. And Spider-Man's like, man, wow, they were really mean in business.
Oh.
So Peter goes to Osborn's house because he's like, I'll just go kill him in his house. If he goes home, I'll strangle him to death or whatever. It's a man possessed. He's like, I'm on a mission. But it's like this horror.
That's creepy as
For
fuck.
me, it's horrifying because like it's Peter being like, I'm alone with this horrible knowledge and no one else in my world knows.
Yeah.
Like Aunt May doesn't know. Like Mary Jane doesn't know. Harry doesn't know. Nobody knows that she's dead.
Yeah.
And the only one who's there is Harry, who's freaking out. Oh,
Gross.
the doctor says that the LSD that Harry was taking.
It was
It was LSD?
Well, okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Harry was taking LSD in the beginning. And between stories, he also dropped acid, which caused schizophrenia.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And that's why he's
I
so
thought
bad
he was
off.
taking, like,
Pep pills or speed.
Yeah.
He's taking Jesse Spano pills.
yeah.
Yeah, no.
I thought it
No,
was
not
speed.
diet pills. I just thought there was like, I've got ecstasy and like, you know, methamphetamines and things.
Yeah, it was LSD
Well.
and then it was acid.
Wow.
Aren't they the same thing?
No.
No.
Okay.
So Harry's freaking out because now he's basically altered his brain chemistry.
Yeah.
And he sees Peter and Peter's like, oh great, it's Harry. Useless, pathetic Harry.
Oof.
Like, because Peter
Yeah.
doesn't have
Gloves
any
are
of
off.
the-
He's just like,
He's
nope,
he's
no
not
filter.
saying it at
Hashtag
least,
no filter.
But he's like, but Harry's like, Peter, is that you? Are you real? I'm freaking out. And he's like, ugh, he is no help.
God.
What a loser.
I mean, his girlfriend just died, and he's got this friggin' obnoxious drug addict friend.
And his father murdered her.
yeah.
Like,
I have no patience for
no
your
patience for Harry.
nonsense.
So
Now's the perfect time to murder your dad in front of you.
yeah, maybe you'll
Yeah.
think it's all a dream. So he leaves, and Harry's like, no, Peter, don't leave. If you leave, then how will I know you were real? Like, ah! And you're like, whoa.
Oh, whoa,
So
dude.
Peter leaves, and Harry collapses in the hallway chasing after him. And then Peter's like, okay, what's next? So he goes to the Daily Bugle where Robbie gets the news that Gwen's dead. He shows up. He wants to know where Osborn might be hiding. So he's like, does Osborn own any weird properties that like wouldn't make sense for Norman Osborn to own, like a theater? Because that's where he kept his
Yeah,
goblin staff.
right.
And he's like, actually, he owns this like weirdo warehouse down by the docks or whatever. So Pete's like, thanks. So he's about to leave, and J. Jonah Jameson's there. He's like, hey, you gotta get him. He killed Gwen Stacy. He's like, shut up. So he webs Jonah's face and he leaves.
Yes! I love that.
Osborn is in his secret lair, which is just another place.
Yeah, it's just a horrible warehouse
And he
with
is
like boarded up
holy-
windows.
And he's like sweating, and he's like, oh my god, like that was intense.
That was messed up.
Okay. I did not expect that.
He's like, here's
Okay.
the. He's like,
I have to
okay.
revisit my list.
Yeah, I gotta get ready because Spider-Man is definitely gonna find me, and he's totally gonna kill me. So I gotta get ready. And then he hears Spider-Man coming. He's like, okay, I hear you, Spider-Man. And so he's about to go get him when Spider-Man's like, yeah, I went around the back, and he like slides through a window and kicks him in the face.
Nice.
And they have this fight, and you know, he's knocked Gobby off his glider, and then he smashes the glider. He's like, you're not going anywhere, man. I'm just gonna murder you in your crappy warehouse. And so
And friggin' the goblin says, my jet flyer! You unthinking fool, you ruined it. You'll pay for that action.
yeah, because he's like, yeah, you killed a girl. He's like, what? Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? You just ruined my glider.
You know how hard that was to make?
I thought you said you had 100 of them.
Yeah, I
I
do.
lied.
I
have
lied. There's
two.
only 2. No, they're both gone.
And they're broken. So
It's amazing.
So Pete just like, overwhelms him and just starts like just punching him back and forth over and over and over again until finally he realizes like, oh my God, he gets a hold of himself and he's like, I'm gonna kill this guy. I gotta stop. When Goblin calls upon the glider like sputters to life and starts swooping at Peter. He ducks slightly out of the way and it impales Goblin in the chest. And I love it because in the movie, the same thing happens, but it like spears him and it holds him there.
Yeah.
In this, it impales him in the chest and it holds him against the wall because the Goblin glider's still like trying to fly
like pushing forward. It's
just like
pinned him to the wall.
Yeah, and he's
with the
just,
strength of the engine. That's awesome.
So he's held up there. The glider dies, and so the two of them just fall to the ground, now dead. And I love it because this is when they wax poetical. They say, "And so proud men die, not on a cross of gold, but on a humble hunk of tin." And you're like, right on, all right, you get this. You can take this pass. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And Peter says, so he's dead. I feel like his death should mean more, but instead I just feel more alone.
Right. He says it shouldn't just be an accident.
Yeah.
It should have a point.
But it really doesn't.
So it doesn't just mean we live in vain.
Yeah.
What? Who talks like that?
Goblin dies, Gwen dies, Peter goes back to the apartment, which I guess is his now or whatever. But Mary Jane is there waiting for him because she found out, right? She's there to like talk to him.
Oh boy.
And Peter is just like devastated. He just killed Green Goblin, he killed Gwen, he's coming down from it all. And he sits down and Mary Jane is like, hey, listen, like we should talk. And he's like, oh, get away. Like, you hate sick beds. You don't want to talk to me. You know, people like me and Gwen are just like below you and your party girl atmosphere and your bullshit. Like, I just want to be alone and cry. Like, get away.
Wow.
So he tells her to leave. So Mary Jane reaches for the door. She stiffens up and then she closes the door defiantly, like, no. And this is a big turning point for Mary Jane because she's like kind of moving away from the party girl, flirt in front of your best friend kind of atmosphere or personality, and instead becomes like an adult.
Right.
She's like, she sees this person she cares about in pain, and she's like, what won't help is going to a discotheque and getting like drunk.
Right.
What will help is like talking to him like a person. And so
Actually, bringing him to the discotheque and getting him drunk, that might help.
no, that's not because that's
Well,
the idea would be they both go, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
he like directly rejects
her bullshit.
her like lifestyle.
Yes.
And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
kind of got a point.
It kind of
I
sobers
guess.
her up a little bit where she's
Yeah.
like, oh, fair enough, I guess.
Yep.
And this is the turning point for Mary Jane where she becomes like a well-rounded character. Well, it'll be another, I don't know, 10 years before she
For the
reveals-
promise of that is
Well,
fulfilled.
yeah, before we reveal what her like past is
Oh,
with her
yeah,
sister and everybody.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like,
That's a weird ending.
I love it because it's
Oh,
like
it's
just,
great.
it's so somber. It's not Gwen dies, then Osborn dies, and then like Peter tells Mary Jane to get stuffed. Like it's just a real downer.
Well, just the fact that she's like, no, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think I know what you need right now, and what you need is not to be alone.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I also love it because they're like, okay, so we've done all we can with Green Goblin. Let's kill him too.
Yeah.
Let's kill someone actually
Well,
important.
it's a good time to kill him,
Right.
Because it's like right after it's gets tense.
Yeah.
It's so intense.
Yeah.
We can't have Peter Parker or Spider-Man, either or, wait for a while. And then kill the Green Goblin.
Yeah, it won't have as
because
much-
then it's murder.
You know why?
This is revenge.
This is okay. So, 73 they kill Gwen Stacy. 86 they kill Jason Todd. So 13 years later, they have a very similar echo.
Yeah.
Because they're both that titular hero's greatest failure. And they never forget it, and it informs their role and their books from then on in.
Yep.
And in both stories, the green-themed, besmiling villain die.
Green and purple theme.
Yeah. Joker dies at the end of A Death in the Family. Like, he
Yeah.
is shot up by
Yeah.
his own henchmen, and his
helicopter
crashes into the ocean. Or
He's
the
dead in
harbor.
2 separate ways.
Yes, and they don't use him until they introduce Tim Drake.
Yeah.
It's like, you have to kill him then. Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like, oh yeah, like now we're gonna deal with this. It feels like you've been holding on to it for too long, pal.
Yeah.
I got a question. When did the Green Goblin come back?
1996.
Wow. He was dead for 20 years?
Yeah.
23
23?
years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Clone Saga. When they couldn't come up with how to fix it, they blamed the whole Clone Saga on Norman Osborn and brought him back to life.
So they couldn't just say, like, someone else just becomes the Green Goblin.
Oh no, Harry becomes the Green Goblin too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Harry
that
does.
also
But they
happens.
couldn't leave it like
Oh, we
that.
already did that. It's gotta be somebody else.
Well, no, they did that and then killed him too.
Yep. So it's like, well, we killed both the Green Goblins.
Not including Phil Urich, Ben Urich's nephew, who also discovers like a variant on the Goblin formula that allows him to kind of like have cool Goblin powers, but not lose his mind, and so he's like a superhero Green Goblin.
Ah.
Norman died, and then Harry became Green Goblin, and they had the same problem. Because Harry knew who Peter was,
Yeah.
and so Harry was like, I'm going to tell everybody, and you're like, this is so
This
exhausting.
has been a decade
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
of you
Jesus.
threatening this.
Now, at least DeMatteis was writing it, and so as a result, like, he did a lot of fun stuff with it where, like, Harry marries Peter's old high school crush, Liz Allen. They have a kid. They move into the apartment that Peter and Mary Jane live in. They live below them or whatever. So they're like housemates. And he's just like, hey, Pete, what's going on? And Pete's like, it's all coming apart. And Harry's like,
Pete
no,
knows,
man.
right?
Yeah, Pete knows that Harry knows, and Harry knows that he's Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And so it's,
He doesn't move.
no, Peter tries to, but they don't have enough money. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got rent control right now.
Can't he just be like, look, we have
sorry.
to
Well,
move.
he did.
Yeah, but they
He's
don't have
Green
the money.
Goblin. It's real bad.
They don't have the money, man. They don't have...
During that time, he was like, Mary Jane, we got to get out of here. And she's like, Harry Osborn is our old friend. If
we're gonna
that
make it work.
We're going to make it work. You're going to have to just go down there, look him straight in the eye and tell him, don't kill us.
And if he is a friend, he will not.
You're
Yeah.
gonna march down there and you are gonna hash this out.
Yeah.
You're gonna be, Harry, you will not kill me.
Knock it off.
You're my friend, I love you.
Yeah. I mean, like, literally.
And you're gonna hug it out.
You're going to hug it out. Literally, in Spectacular Spider-Man number 199 and 200, like, Green Goblin, Harry Osborn, he's just flying around, and he grabs Mary Jane, he takes her to the Brooklyn Bridge, and she's like, what are you going to do, kill me? And he's like, what, kill you? Why would I do that? No, I brought you here to remind you about, like, about this is the day when, like, our innocents died, and I love you, I love you, I'll take care of you forever, like, don't worry. No, it's just Peter that needs to die. And she's like, get me the fuck down here. Like, get me out of here.
Yeah. Stop.
I'm sorry.
You need to
Was
stop.
this weird? This was weird.
It's very weird.
I'm sorry.
Harry, you're not insane. Stop trying to pretend like you're your dad. You're not. I know
No,
you.
he does, because Harry's a dumbass and not a chemist, so he like changes the
he
Goblin
takes the
formula,
formula? Oh,
takes it,
God.
and it makes him like nuts, and also kills him, because it's like it's an untested chemical he put into his body.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
you can't do that.
You can't just do
That
that and
shit'll
expect
kill
to be
you.
cool. Like, no, it'll
Yeah.
kill you, and indeed it does. The death of Gwen Stacy is a seminal moment in Spider-Man's history. It's a really fun story in and of itself, kind of, I guess. I love the drama around it. If you can, read every interview you can find from Romita Sr., Jerry Conway, Stan Lee, and put the pieces together and figure it out for yourself. What is the origin of Gwen's death?
I like how much information there is around the story, the creation of it,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
history in there.
Yeah.
Because that is like
That's the
actually
fun of
more
it.
interesting than the story
Oh
itself.
yeah, the story is Spider-Man fights Green Goblin until he kills Gwen, and then he kills him. Like, that's how it goes. I mean, like, and there's a bunch of stuff that happens in between. But if
Right.
you care about Spider-Man, you're like, okay. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you guys next time in an all-new episode. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So long. He's probably one of the only people on the planet who knows who Spider-Man is.
Other than Peter.
Yes.
Sorry. That was dumb.
I was like, should I just let him have it?
No.
Ben took
I
it.
guess, yeah. Technically
yes.
true.
Master Wayne, I failed you.
I failed you.
I failed you.
failed
I'm
you.
sorry. Shut up, Alfred.
Would you go fucking cry?
Yeah.
I want one day to be in France. To be in
Oh,
France.
where
to see
am I?
you.
Yeah, just to see you.
look.
And you'll just
I want to be in
raise
some
your glass at me.
arbitrary fucking European country. like, and hope
Yeah.
you're with some lady that you abandoned your lineage and your friends and everything in the world that fucking made you who you are.
You know what that scenario is? That scenario is, I have to prove he's right.
Yeah, exactly. No.
So like,
He
I
thinks I can't
followed
be
where
happy,
you
I'll
were
show
going
him.
on vacation.
Yep.
And then tracked you down.
Yep.
And then
And
decided
then I
to have
paid
one.
Catwoman
All right,
like
Selena, I need you to fucking
$100,000
sit right here,
to
okay.
sit there
Sit right here. Don't fucking look
and
at anybody.
act like you like me.
Yeah.
But I hate you.
And
We're
we're together.
enemies.
No,
No,
she kisses him at the end.
Yeah,
No,
she
I know,
does.
but I'd love it
It's
if,
heartwarming.
Yeah.
if it wasn't.
Yeah, she was just like,
It's like, I'm doing you this one favor.
Yeah.
You owe me.
I guess the moral of that story is like, take care of yourself.
yeah, look out for number one.
That's what Batman's
Or
all
like,
about, right?
once you save a city from nuclear annihilation,
You get it.
You get to retire.
Hey, Captain America learned that lesson.
It's true.
I time saved everybody.
Yep.
And now I get to go back in time and screw up the timeline.
No. It's not I get to do that. Like, I chose to be old.
Yeah.
You want me to come back? I'll fight.
Yeah. He didn't immediately become old.
No,
It's
he got to live his
got to
life
live
and
his
be
whole
old
life.
at the right time.
Yeah, and it's not like fucking yeah. And when the Korean War broke out, he was like, "Good luck."
I thought you were
I
gonna
already
say.
fought for
Vietnam
my
happened. He's
country.
like, "That looks like a quagmire to me."
I thought you were gonna say he.
When Nixon becomes president, he's like, "Yeah, it's fine."
Yeah.
He stopped the missile.
I want
and like the
status.
rocket from launching.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and he got to retire. No, he was frozen to a block of ice. Now it's very different.
Yeah, no, that's not retirement. Yeah, he got 70 years.
You got to rest.
Yeah, now he's got to fight until he dies.
Yeah, he Rip Van Winkled it up.